Let's do a weekly roundup of all the grifters that normalize the depravity and the grifting of a dementia-ridden nut job named Kanks. Here we have Glenn Beck trying to normalize, sane wash the White House renovations. Play the clip.
And I were alone in the Oval for a while. We were talking about it. And he comes in, he says, you know, I'm doing all this. You see all the gold? I'm like, yes, I can't miss it. You can't miss the gold. And he's like, you know, it's so important. These foreign leaders, they all come from palaces and they don't understand. And I know, you know, the White House is different. America's different, but they understand power in a different way. And he said they're coming from these old countries and these big buildings and these palaces. And he said it is important for us to project power.
Yes.
And that is why he's doing it. It's not because he likes gold. He's doing it to project power and wealth. Notice how...
Okay, I've heard enough. This is insanity. This is Saddam Hussein, Kremlin-style dictator insecurity. He's not doing this to project strength. He's doing this to cover for the fact that he doesn't have strength. Right. He's exposing his own insecurity in this. And the tone-deaf nature of all of these expenditures, while hard-working Americans, many of whom voted for him, are being denied services or even their paycheck, while he's doing all of this, tells you how much he hates his supporters.
Well, and let's remember, Trump has gold toilets in Trump Tower, like from years and years and years ago. So is he projecting power with his gold toilet, or does he look just like a fucking dipshit? He looks like a dipshit.
Okay, moving along. This Christian grifter named Steve Vaughn says that Satan killed Charlie Kirk and Jesus helped because he was being turned against Israel. And I play this for you all because you have to understand, when you see the cult, you're like, how did they get there? How are these people like that? What I'm about to play, this is the type of shit that they consume that gets thousands upon thousands upon thousands of views. Play the clip.
Kill Charlie Kirk. Satan did. And God allowed it for reasons that we may never know. But here's what I do know. When I tell you something, there is something. I have had my finger on the pulse of this nation for 5 years. I told you what the problem was. They were turning him in. There was Tucker and him were like this. They were turning Charlie against God's chosen people. And God said, no, not today. No.
Okay, enough. This is all of this Christian Zionism. These are the rapture preppers. And this is also inherently anti-Semitic because where Pumps and I grew up, where we raised our kids, evangelical Christianity reigns. And they only want the Jews to be in Israel for the return of their Lord and Savior in the rapture. And they literally believe this is going to happen. And then Jesus is going to say, pick. Are you going to remain a Jew or are you going to become a Christian? And if you say, no, I'm sticking with Judaism, straight to hell you go. And so this Christian Zionism is something that AIPAC and the Israeli government really exploit and has been continually exploited in the United States of America. The fact that you have these people in rural America that listen to this stuff, that will go hard in the paint for Israel and for Israeli citizens to have health care, while allowing a country of 3 million people to dog walk a country of 340 million people, is breathtaking.
Yeah, and I looked at that, and my first thought was, this guy is a buffoon. He sounds like a buffoon. He looks like a buffoon. And then I thought, oh, yeah, he looks like every pastor I went to church with. They're all like this, just buffoonery on steroids.
All right, moving along, we have a mega church pastor who prays on stage with the governor of Virginia and the lieutenant governor, and they're hopeful that the praying helps get God to get her elected. Play the clip.
align with our biblical values on life, on the family, on the definition of two biological sexes, and some of these critical issues in our culture that I know we as Christians really appreciate. And so thank you for loving the Lord. Thank you for loving our country. Thank you for loving our Commonwealth. Can I pray for both of them? Would you join me? Lord, I just thank you for Governor Youngkin and for the 4 years that he has served us so faithfully here. Just ask you, Lord, to bless him, that you would continue to...
All right, I can't. I just stop. Okay, all of this, see the hands out and all of that. But did you hear what that pastor said at the beginning? Something that was super important for him as a Christian was that there only be two genders.
Right.
And when you think about the teachings of the central character of Christianity, that is nowhere in it. It is help the poor. And Jesus himself spoke out against overt religiosity, against praying in public. He knew that people that did that were full of shit, fake grifters. But that right there, that is so where we grew up, Pumps. That bullshit in thinking that God is going to spin an election this way or the other. And let me just remind all of you of this. The most religious states, the Bible Belt states, have the worst economies, the worst healthcare, the worst infrastructure, the worst everything, the worst education. So that leads me to two conclusions. Either prayer doesn't work, or number two, God doesn't like overt religious people. So you can pick which one of those you do. I really don't necessarily believe in either of those. I think whenever you have a government that is exploiting people, grifting people, and only wants to favor the few, this is what you get. You get dick over of the masses. And there's something inherent in Christianity where these people like the cruelty of it. Moving along, we have a Christian nationalist, Wesley Todd, and he screams the quiet part out loud. And he says, Pumps, that he is a professional racist.
My name is Wesley Todd. Most of you probably know me from helping to co-host the Right Response live stream. That's 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and getting myself into a little bit of trouble on X. So that's what I do, and close to a full-time capacity at this point. I worked in corporate America for about 3 years. And, if professional racist, if it was a job title, I think I'm getting pretty close to it. It's not something you find on LinkedIn. It's not an Indeed listing. But I mean, I get paid to sit down and say, hey, young men, you need to go out there, you need to join ICE, and you need to deport 50 million people. So that's what I do. I really enjoy doing it.
Pumps.
In my mind, under no circumstances would this type of language and this boasting about being a racist, would it ever be considered okay, but for the Trump regime, but for the overt racism in this administration. It empowers people like him to be proud of being a racist, just like Charlie Kirk. He can say whatever he wants. He can do whatever he wants because this administration loves bullying and humiliating people and doesn't give a shit about anything but themselves.
All right. And lastly, I'm going to leave you with an alt-right streamer who defends the Nazi group chats and texts. And he says he wants young men and boys to go even further and be even more radicalized. Play the clip.
Close ranks around these young kids. These were good young kids that thought that they were in private, making edgy jokes as one does. And, I've seen it in my life. When I got canceled in 2017, I got called an anti-Semite, and I never really fucking said anything anti-Semitic, okay? But once I got called that, all of a sudden, you know what? I am going to take another look at World War II. I'm going to take another look at Jewish group behavior. And all of a sudden, guess what? Now I'm an anti-Semite. So thank you. Thank you for creating more radicals. The Republican Party is fucked. I don't know what else to say. We need to close ranks and support these guys. So please pray for them, support them, hire them. These are young, bright kids.
Okay. This is the part where the Jewish people that want pure, unrestrained support for Israel without acknowledging who funds that, at what price that is funded, and that it's funding a war criminal that's committing genocide. It's pushing some former progressive Jewish voters to the right. And I've been saying this for the longest time. The most anti-Semitic people I know are Christian Zionists. The jokes, off-color jokes about Jewish people, oh, I'm going to Jew them down and all of that. I've heard more from evangelical Christian white Republicans than any other group on the planet. So what happens here when you don't have politicians that have clarity, moral clarity about certain issues and advocate for universal human rights, all of these vacuums are left all over the place. And it's a shame that Zoran wasn't born in the United States. And it's a shame that many people in the Jewish community have allowed the false narrative to go on that he's some sort of anti-Semite. It's a shame that we can't both say at the same time we support Jewish people and we're interested in making sure that Jews feel safe and we want to reduce cases of anti-Semitism, while at the same time, the Israeli government is a fascist authoritarian regime run by a war criminal that needs to be in jail, because all of those things are true. But as you can see from this shit, these things right here are vacuums that are getting filled by grifters and opportunists, and they're all there, MAGA, from the crazy Christians all the way down to this streamer, and they all are very influential, which is terrifying. All right, that's all we have. Please buy our book. It's called Life is a Lazy Susan of Shit Sandwiches. It's available online, also an audiobook. Subscribe to our channel. We'll be back later with more news.